So this opening hand, not quite going to do it. But how do they want to approach this matchup? You know, again, Hunter is one of those decks where it can just really take care of the early game so well that there's no coming back from it. And if there's a deck that's really susceptible to that, it's Druid. They have mid-game minions that really fight for the board super well, but if they don't have those explosive starts, Wrath is really about the only card they have that fights for that early tempo.
Yeah.
And so because of that, they're looking for ways to not only offset that, but maybe just ways to get the tempo on their side instead with Wild Growth, with Innervate. So a lot of things to consider here. Do you want to keep this Wrath maybe for a Knife Juggler? Do you want to just go all in and look for those Wild Growths, look for those Innervates, maybe even the Darnassus Aspirants?
Now Texas A&M, they pick up a little bit of a better curve, and I believe they kept that quick shot, probably as a way to deal with the Darnassus Aspirant, because that can really let the Druid run away with the game. And Florida Gulf Coast doesn't look like they've thrown away their mulligans yet. They're really deliberating on this choice. It is tough. I would keep the Wrath, throw away everything else. They just keep the swipe.
Yeah, so they're looking to deal with more of like an Animal Companion than they are just with a couple early games. And I think given what they've seen, this isn't really too terrible of a decision. I actually kind of like this. And given their hand structure right now, I don't see turn 1 Darnassus Aspirant being a choice. And this is really going to throw off A&M unless they pick up a 2-drop. So this is like perfect for them. If they didn't draw this, they were staring at an Aspirant going into their 3-mana turn with no minions on board.
Bummer.
And that could have been a disaster. So Shade actually going to win the joust here.
Yeah, Flannel Guy, or should I say Hoodie Guy, give a pretty disappointed look at that one.
They do have a check to the Aspirant, though, and they can roll into their Animal Companion. So things aren't looking over for them yet.
Yeah. It always stinks to lose that joust, but I know. I mean, what are you expecting? You're playing a 3-2, and sometimes you're even drawing possibly one of the most powerful cards in your deck.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Misha's a good start, so they nullify this Darnassus Aspirant. They have a 4-4 on board. I'd say they're feeling pretty good about their board position right now.
Yeah. Florida Gulf Coast, they do have a way to deal with it with a swipe, and they do have a play going into turn 4, but it's whether or not that Keeper of the Grove is going to match up to whatever Texas A&M plays, and it's probably going to be a Piloted Shredder, which it doesn't. It can silence it, but it doesn't even match the body.
They got to think about Houndmaster too. What are the implications of letting that card hit right now?
Yeah.
And so I look at this turn and I wonder, can Florida Gulf Coast recover from a Houndmaster in this spot? I think with their hand structure right now, they're considering that and going, you know what? I don't think we can. This may just have to be a swipe this turn. But this is kind of what I was talking about with this Hunter deck. It's really the threat of what they have, it being more powerful than the actual threats themselves at times.
Yeah.
Where it kind of puts your opponents in these awkward spots where they feel they're committed to using these kinds of cards earlier than they would rather. So because of this, they do take care of the Misha, but now they just give initiative right back over to Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Who continues to draw very poorly. I mean, they have drawn like 3+ utility cards in every single game. Now, granted, in this one, they kept the quick shots. They may have shot themselves in the foot with that one. But either way, this is like not the way this deck normally draws. It's not what you're looking for. And because of this, they may just outright fall behind.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine if they didn't draw the King Zelic and hadn't kept the quick shot. Their Darnassus Aspirant was played. They wouldn't have any way to deal with it.
Yeah.
So that could have run away with the game because that would have allowed Florida Gulf Coast to play that turn 3 coin through the call.
That's true, but you also have to consider, do you have Kill Command still might be a card you use on it. Again, if they don't coin it out on turn 1, you're reusing it on turn 3.
Yeah.
Is the Eagle Horn Bow good enough to check it in that spot? A lot of different things come into consideration. Quick Shot definitely gives you a guaranteed answer to Aspirant, but is a guaranteed answer better than just getting the ball rolling yourself?
I don't know the answer to that question.
It's a difficult one.
Yeah.
They're on the side of guaranteed quick shot. I bet there's a lot of people that are.
I tend to always try and keep a Darnassus Aspirant answer against Druid. The tournament Druid scene is a little bit different though. 1 Hound and a quick shot to deal with a Keeper of the Grove. They really want to protect this 4-3 body of the Piloted Shredder.
Yeah, and
hello, Wanderer.
I definitely kind of agree with them in this spot. And it's not because like using a Houndmaster and a quick shot to take care of a 2-4 body is a great play. It's that if you look at the situation they're in, if they fall behind, they are in big trouble.
Yeah.
And so they have to take whatever they can get at this point and just hope that the cards come out right for them and that the cards go south for their opponent.
Yeah. And they do have Dr. Boom, so going into that turn 7, they're going to have a big play, but Florida Gulf Coast, They're already drawn into the big game hunter and have a Dr. Boom of their own. So feels like it's going to be pretty tough for Texas A&M to pull out a win in this one. You know, anything could happen still. Jaime could come down next turn.
Yeah, the big story I think about what happened last turn is how does Florida Gulf Coast interpret what this means for their opponent's hand? And so I'm looking at this and I'm going, you know, maybe they just have a super strong turn 6, which obviously in that situation is a high main. Maybe they have Ram Wrangler, they're looking for a beast, but they just have to get to that point first. They have so many different plays that are just very good for them. Which one's going to work out best? They're going to choose to go with the taunt here. They think that buying themselves just enough time is going to be more than enough to close it. And right now it's looking like that might be the case.
Yeah.
You know, I could definitely see a second Unleash the Hounds having to be used here, given what Texas A&M did last turn.
Yeah, Unleash the Hounds, Hunter's Mark, throw down a Haunted Creeper, paved the way for that Dr. Boom. Might have to be the choice, especially, like you said, given that play that they made last turn. Consistency of strategy.
Yeah, this is the point where
thing.
you don't want to deviate. You want to follow through with your game plan. And since they've committed to this very aggressive stance, they're likely going to have to follow up on it as well. Say they choose not to use this Unleash, not to use the Hunter's Mark. Very surprised here. Now they're losing 4 points of damage on the Pilot Shredder. They're giving their opponents a 4-6 on board. And they're keeping a Hunter's Mark in their hand, but what's the Hunter's Mark for now? So they find themselves in a difficult spot now where, you know, players who are very comfortable with decision making do not want to give up their options. They feel like if they have enough options, they can climb out of these extremely difficult situations. But this situation is not getting any easier for them. I think at this spot, I would like to see them try to take what they can get once again, and hope that Dr. Boom would be enough.
And now look, an Emperor Thor's hand is played onto the board, and they don't really have a good way to deal with it, while also being able to play the Dr. Boom that they were trying to set up for in the beginning. Ram Wrangler could be a pretty big deal, but it's going to have to pick up something huge. Texas A&M wants a chance to come back.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like the miracle beast that you could get at this point.
King
so
Crush.
Like, if you hit a King Crush, certainly it's okay. Gozrilla I think is totally good here. But I think given what's happened, they just got to go with the Dr. Boom and really hope for the best. They've already seen a swipe.
Yeah.
It's already pretty unlikely that their opponent actually has a big game hunter in their hand, considering that they're not going to keep it. But once again, this is a matter, I think, of just falling behind because they didn't take care of that Druid of the Claw. And this big game hunter, I think this is closing it out, TJ.
I think it just might do it. They have 9 total mana that they can use this turn. And they don't even have to use all of it. They could just big game hunter Lotheb and, you know, probably be set.
Probably. just big game hunter Lotheb. Just kill your opponent 7/7 and add a 5/5 to the board that doesn't let him cast any spells.
Well, when you put it that way.
Oh no!
Agony!
It's reached the "are you kidding me" point.
I knew I shouldn't have forgotten my flannel today.
Oh, poor A&M. I feel for him in this spot. I mean, I have been on the receiving end and the delivering end of this situation. Even when I deliver this, it doesn't feel very good. I'm like, I'm sorry. I happened to draw this card. This is meant for so many different decks, and it just happened to kill your most powerful card.
Yeah.
What do you know?
I know. Well,
can Lotheb ever answer this, or can the Ram Wrangler ever answer this? That's really the question right here. Because they need these boombots to hit for about 7 or 8 if they're going to end up winning this game.
Yeah, I mean, they could pick off the big game hunter and hit one of the 5/5s for 4 and trade in the Haunted Creeper and get something really impactful from Ram Wrangler.
Which is a pretty unlikely scenario, but you know what? It's better than nothing. They're going to choose to go with Unleash the Hounds, though, and I don't blame them here for this. It's difficult to get more than 4 Hounds out of this card, which is the reason you saw them throw one away a little bit early in the game. That's the wrong 4.
Well, I mean,
here we
gotta
go.
Be happy to hit.
Well, 5 damage off the boombots. It's pretty average. They're going to push the rest of this and hope for the best.
This is not Texas A&M's day. Thank you.
Well, here's the thing. The game hasn't ended quite yet. Florida Gulf Coast could go for a card draw here. If they pick up Savage Roar, the game will end. But they need a few more points of damage to really close this out.
Yeah. Well played's going to come out.
Swipe actually would close this out as well.
Yeah, I think they're going to realize that might be their best option. They still have Innervate, so the amount of plays that they can still make even after using that Wrath for 1 to cycle a card, they can still play Dr. Boom. They can actually play Dr. Boom and then Innervate out a Pilot Shredder.
There's a cycle. Ancient Allure probably going to do a pretty good job of closing this one out as well. You know, whether it be the card draw or whether it be the 5 extra health, the fact that they're just getting, you know, Texas A&M's playing 1-1s, Florida Gulf Coast is playing 5-5s. You know, that is not a winning proposition.
Yeah. Florida Gulf Coast, though, does have to play around, you know, worst case scenario. How much damage can they do? If they have Unleashed double kill command and they play a Dr. Boom on the board.
Well, they've already seen an Unleash too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the second Unleash that they've seen. I mean,
That, well, if Texas A&M has
double kill command,
kill command, and then they'd still need, no,
10,
they're playing around all their
11,
options.
12, 13,
Yeah.
14. Yeah, I don't see it happening here.
Wouldn't be enough.
Yeah, they would need like Arcane Golem, like Power Faceless or something, like discounted ones.
Ram Wrangler into Bloodfin Raptor.
Well, hey, Bloodfin Raptor, you're pretty cool.
That about sums up this series.
Look, that guy caught a raptor. I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he did.
I've never caught a raptor. I'm not Chris Pratt.
I beg to differ.
Oh, Hunter's Mark on the and Bloodfin Raptor. You know, still in good spirits, though. Texas A&M, even though they dropped this series, their smiles, give them the thumbs up. And GG's, Florida Gulf Coast, high fives all around. The face paint came correct today, TJ.
Yeah, 3-0 for these guys. And not only is that a 4-0 start for them, but that 4 wins, that's the magic number. We will be seeing Florida Gulf Coast University in the playoff stage.